So you're attempting the next extra credit assignment, and that's great because again you're going to get the opportunity to see how business people use this very popular tool Excel to do calculations that are very relevant to us in statistics. By letting Excel do some of these calculations, it'll help you get on to the task of doing the analysis, the business analysis that we're interested in. So we've got Excel open, we've got our file open. Now you have clicked Save to save this file to your computer, and of course you're saving it in the name format that is specified in the instructions, and of course that includes the chapter name, your first name and last name. You don't want to lose points just because you didn't follow the instructions, right? So once you do that, the first thing that you know you need to do is put your name on your work. This is true in a professional setting, this is true in an academic setting. So again, I'm just going to type in here that I'm Jane Doe. I clicked on the yellow box, I started typing. When I finished typing, I pressed the enter key. That moved me down to this cell. So we're working on ABC shoe store purchases, and once again we have a list of transactions. Now maybe these have come from several different stores. Maybe one store is reporting that they sold 27 golf shoes, another store is reporting that they've sold 23 golf shoes, and so you can kind of look through the data. Now one thing that we learned in the last extra credit activity, and that we're learning in our course in general, is that it's very important to sort your data, and Excel of course makes light work of that. What you do now is you click any of these values, the shoes, I'm going to sort it by that, and I'm going to click A to Z and then A to Z sort, and see how easy that is. That just makes nice work of that, right? You may want to save after you've done that, right? So come up and save so you don't lose your work. Now the next thing that it tells us to do in step D is to activate something called the data analysis tool. This is something that a lot of people miss out on because it's built into Excel, but unless you turn it on, you don't get to see it. So what is data analysis? Well, look across these tabs. You see where it says data? Okay. As I look across, now this is Excel version 2010, works pretty much the same way for 2007 if you have an older version. I did provide a link that may help you for that within the assignment instructions. Data, as I look across, look at this very end. See how it says data analysis? The reason that I am seeing that is because I turned it on. I suspect that you don't see that on your computer unless you've specifically taken the actions to turn it on. How do you turn it on? Well, this is something that Excel calls an add-in, A-D-D, add-in, I-N. Okay, how do you add things in? You go to File, and there are videos that show you specifically how to do this. You go down to Options. It's going to pull up this menu. Okay, look through these tabs on the left and see where it says Add-ins. Click on that. Oh, I say click on that. There it goes. Now, you may see a list of some of the things that have already been turned on in your add-in. And in fact, you can see that I have already turned on the Analysis Tool Pack, which is why I see Data Analysis in the background. But what if I had not? This is all you have to do. Come down here to the very bottom. See this Go button? Click on it. Okay? There are several. There's lots of add-ins. This Solver, for example, is a really powerful tool. It's wonderful. Euro Currency, Analysis Tool Pack, VBA, and Analysis Tool Pack. Now, I have a check mark in there, which is what you want. But if I uncheck it and click OK, do you see how that turned that off? Now I don't have access to that tool anymore. Well, I don't want that, okay? So again, you know, you want that box checked. File, Options, Add-ins, Go, check the box, OK. Okay, so now I have my data analysis tool. So I go back to my instructions, and I believe I'm about at, where am I at here? Part 2, where I've turned that on. And let's see, I'm about to run out, so I'm going to stop here and do this next part. The Part 2 instructions say that now that I have the data analysis activated and I'm on the data tab, that I'm going to use something called Descriptive Statistics. Okay, so I'm going to click, first of all I'm going to click in this data, and then I'm going to click Data Analysis. And there's all kinds of things that I can do in here. There's tons of things here that you may find useful, especially if you take a second statistics class. Right now we're studying descriptive statistics, so I'm going to select that. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to follow the instructions, and I've got everything spelled out for you there. And where it says input range, notice that I'm going to put a $sign, B, then 4, which starts the column there. I'm going to put a colon, which is the 2 dots. Okay, so the 2 dots stacked up to say, oops, I'm sorry, let me back up. $B, see, even I make mistakes, $4, that means lock on to cell B4 through the colon, as we just discussed, $B, staying in the column B, $38, meaning go through cell B38 and lock on to it. The dollar signs mean lock on to that cell. Now, it's saying I'm going to group the data in columns. Is there a label in the very first row? Well, I started in B4 where there's this label quantity, so absolutely. Yes, there is. Now, it says, where do you want the output? And by default, it goes to a new worksheet. But I want it to put it on this same spreadsheet tab. So I've selected output range. I'm going to click inside that cell, and according to my instructions, $C, $5. Okay, $C, $5. Now, I also want to check the box Summary Statistics, and this is all specified in the instructions there. Let me make sure I've got everything else here. Confidence level for the mean, I'm going to check that, and I've got that set at 95%. I want the largest and I want the smallest values. Okay, so once I configure this screen, I'm going to click OK. And in cell C5, just like we specified, here very quickly is a lot of data that will help me in my analysis. Now, we've already studied how to calculate the average, and you see it here, the mean. We've talked about how to calculate the standard error, so we're understanding what these values mean. Excel is now just helping us to speed up the calculation. You understand how to calculate the median and the mode, and you also understand that depending on the formula that you use, you may have to calculate a value that is different than the one that Excel automatically generates, right? So, because there's the right way, the wrong way, and the homework way, which needs to correspond to your book. So when you make sure that you can double check the math. Okay, here's our standard deviation. I mean, look at all the skew. Remember your skew calculations and how long that can take. You've got minimums and maximums and sums and counts. So there's 34 data items. You've got confidence levels, which is something we'll talk about later in the semester. But look at all this great information. Now, I do ask you in part 3 of the instructions to go through and color code some of this just so that I know that you're looking at it. So, for example, for the mean, I would like you to take a look at that, and I want to know if you think it's reasonable. So I'm going to color code that just because I'm looking at it. There's my median. There's my mode. Okay, what else did I ask you? And how about the count? Now again, you need to double check these things. Make sure that everything is accurate. I'm just going through this briefly in the interest of video time. Now, so we've got it all done. We need to save this using the required naming convention, and we need to submit it into the pause drop box. If you, and hopefully you have done it by this point in the semester, but if you're unfamiliar with how to submit things into the pause drop box, or you've had trouble with it in the past, in the instructions I've given you a video to do that. Now folks, if I've gone to the trouble to make these videos for you and you're not following the instructions, you will lose points for that, so you don't want to do that. I think you're fully capable of doing this, and hopefully you'll have a little fun with it as well. Okay, so don't forget to save the work. I'm not going to save it now, and to close the file you're going to save. To close completely out of that